Welcome everyone to this review of SmackDown, the episode of June 9th. The show begins with Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, and Jey Uso coming to the ring. Jey Uso has not yet made his decision, but he has some issues to address with his brother Solo. He is upset about Solo's betrayal last week when he initially aligned with the Usos but ultimately joined Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman steps in and tries to convince Jey Uso that his brother is manipulating him. He brings up the incident at Night of Champions where Jimmy delivered a superkick to Roman Reigns, questioning if Jimmy had informed Jey about it. According to Paul Heyman, Jimmy Uso has always harbored resentment towards his brother because he knows that Roman Reigns is grooming Jey to become the next tribal chief. Paul Heyman assures Jey that it is his destiny. To demonstrate his sincerity, Paul Heyman arranges a crucial match for Jey Uso later in the evening, which could bring a championship to the Bloodline. However, it will not be a tag team championship since Heyman believes there are no teams left in the Bloodline. Paul Heyman announces that Jey Uso will be competing against Austin Theory for the United States Championship. If Jey wins the title, Roman Reigns will continue to prepare him for his role as the next tribal chief. Heyman extends his hand to Jey, but Jey hesitates and says he will come back to him later. Next, we have an excellent match between Mustafa Ali and Santos Escobar, with a qualifying spot at stake for the Money in the Bank match. Towards the end of the match, Santos Escobar executes his Super Phantom driver on Mustafa Ali, followed by a pinfall for the victory. In the backstage, Sami Zayn and Jey Uso cross paths. Zayn acknowledges the importance of the evening for Jey and expresses his sentiments. He reminisces about their time together, which he considers the best moments of his life. However, their partnership ended because of one person, the tribal chief. Zayn explains that he tried his best for the Bloodline, but Reigns wanted to test Jey against his own brother. Zayn hopes that Jey will emerge victorious tonight, proving to the Bloodline that they need him more than he needs them. The NXT Tag Team Champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, are interrupted during their promo by the WWE Tag Team Champions, Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Baszler and Rousey express their desire to claim the NXT titles as well. Title versus title, Fire and Dawn accept the match. A brawl breaks out between the two teams to conclude the segment. The unification match for the Women's Tag Team Championships will take place in the episode on June 23rd. We continue with a qualification match for the Women's Money in the Bank, Bayley against Mia Yim. It's a relatively quick match, and in the end, Bayley executes her rose plant on Mia Yim and pins her for the win. AJ Styles was on commentary during the match, supporting Mia Yim. After the match, Scarlett appears in front of him and throws powder in his face, blinding him and allowing Karrion Kross to attack him. In the backstage area, Adam Pearce asks Bianca Belair not to intervene during the ceremony for the presentation of the new WWE Women's Championship title to Asuka. In exchange, he promises Belair a championship match. Belair accepts the offer. Asuka enters the ring for the final time as the Raw Women's Champion. Adam Pearce joins her, presenting the new championship belt draped beside him. The new belt, resembling the WWE Universal Championship but with white leather, is unveiled. Charlotte Flair interrupts the ceremony and expresses her interest in the title. Pearce tells her she'll have to wait her turn like everyone else, but Flair disagrees. Regardless, Asuka agrees to defend her title against Flair. Asuka attempts to spit her mist at Flair, but Flair evades and retaliates, tossing the champion out of the ring. Later in the evening, it is announced that the match will take place on the June 30th episode of SmackDown. Paul Heyman joins Jey Uso in the locker room and praises him for his performance, acknowledging that he fell for the cliffhanger at the beginning of the episode. Heyman also asks for Jey Uso's passport, as they all plan to go to Money in the Bank in London together. He announces that Roman Reigns will be present next week, and if Jey Uso decides to stay, he will have a ceremony to officially confirm his position as the #1 successor to Roman Reigns. Jey Uso warns Heyman not to rejoice too soon because if he stays in the Bloodline, Paul Heyman won't be in the Bloodline anymore. In the backstage, Adam Pearce is seen talking on the phone, arranging a match between Charlotte Flair and Asuka for the last SmackDown before Money in the Bank. Meanwhile, Bianca Belair interrupts the conversation, clearly expressing her discontent. Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes are seen in the front row, watching the Money in the Bank qualifying match between Baron Corbin and Butch. A video package recaps the ongoing conflict between Corbin and Hayes in NXT. The match itself is fast-paced, with Butch emerging victorious over Baron Corbin by securing a pinfall victory with a roll-up. Corbin is distracted by Carmelo Hayes during the match. As a result, Butch qualifies for the Money in the Bank ladder match. After the match, Baron Corbin confronts Carmelo Hayes, appearing ready to engage in a physical altercation. However, officials quickly step in to defuse the situation and prevent any further escalation. In the backstage area, the Brawling Brutes are being interviewed about Butch's victory, but Baron Corbin interrupts them. However, Cameron Grimes then interrupts, attacking Corbin and beating him up. It's a rough night for Corbin. We move on to a Money in the Bank qualifying match for the women's division between Io Sky and Shotzi. Both wrestlers deliver an excellent match, showcasing their skills. It's clear that both of them deserve a chance to compete in London. Towards the end of the match, Io Sky manages to execute her moonsault on Shotzi with the assistance of Bayley and secures the pinfall victory. Io Sky emerges as the winner of the match. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are in the locker room when they are interrupted by Pretty Deadly, followed by the Good Brothers, the Brawling Brutes, the Street Profits, and the LWO. Overwhelmed by the situation, Kevin Owens reaches his breaking point once again. In the midst of the chaos, Adam Pearce enters and announces that a gauntlet match will take place next week to determine the challengers for the tag team titles. We reach the main event of this episode, the United States Championship match between Austin Theory and Jey Uso. It's a great match, and Jey embraces his face persona, receiving strong support from the crowd. During the match, Pretty Deadly, who seemed to have formed an alliance with Austin Theory, interfere and attack Jey Uso after he nearly won the match with an Uso splash. Unfortunately, a referee bump occurs just before, and the referee is unable to count the pinfall in time. Jimmy Uso comes to his brother's aid and gets rid of Pretty Deadly. However, Solo Sikoa attacks Jimmy and prepares to deliver his Samoan Spike finisher, but Jey stops him. In an attempt to attack Solo, Jimmy accidentally hits Jey with a superkick. Jimmy and Solo got into a fight on the outside, allowing Theory to pin Jey for the victory. Jey Uso is furious with his brother, showing his anger by pushing him as he leaves the ring. Despite the incident, Jey Uso chooses not to reconcile with Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa tonight. The show concludes with this tense moment. Once again, we were treated to an excellent show fueled by the captivating Bloodline storyline and the Money in the Bank qualifying matches. This episode of SmackDown delivered 5 matches, much to the delight of the audience. What do you think? Did you enjoy this SmackDown? Let me know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching this video and take care.